Hello, welcome. Oh, my mic. Where is my mic? Oh, it's plugged in. See, I'm so prepared. It's right here. Thank you. Okay, do over. Pretend you didn't see that. Okay. Hi. Oh, okay. Well, I can go over here. Am I in? Yeah. Okay. Hello, I'm Kelly with Gia's Italian Kitchen. Gia is my daughter, so I named my company after her because Kelly's Italian Kitchen sounds terrible. I'm half Irish, so welcome. Tonight we are going to make my grandmother's Stromboli, which I will explain in a few minutes. But I wanted to welcome you to the Marion Library. I see like a ton of faces that I've never seen before, a few that I recognize but not from the Marion Library, so thank you for coming. I'm part of their monthly event calendar, so on their website, which is where you registered, we are the first or second Thursday of every month. So I'm here every month doing a dish from Gia's Italian Kitchen. So thank you for being here. And we've been doing this, I think, since like maybe April or May technically of last year. So this is really exciting. So the Stromboli we're going to make is, I don't know, people kind of think it's like a calzone. It's not a calzone. You can put lots of different ingredients in it. Some people put ham and salami, and there's all sorts of stuff. We're going to make my grandmother's version of the Stromboli. So what you have in front of you is the class packet. So you have the recipe with the list of ingredients and the instructions. So those packets are yours to keep. If you are streaming this online and you did not get a packet, you can email us, Kelly, K-E-L-L-E-Y, at giasitaliankitchen.biz, B-I-Z, and we'll get that to you after class. But those are yours to keep, so you can make some notes and scribble. Hopefully it's pretty step-by-step on how we're going to go through this tonight. So the premise of my class, of all my classes, is that it's interactive. This isn't a demo. It is hopefully you guys coming up to help cook. So as you can see, nothing is prepped, nothing is chopped. That's kind of my goal. Is I want to be different than you're turning on the TV and they pull the thing out of the oven and they're like, look here, it's done. So we start with nothing. We start with the list and then have the participants come up and help do the cooking. So I will probably do maybe 2 or 3 rounds of helpers. So if you would like to help, we have aprons, and just raise your hand if you want to come up. So we're going to get started so that we can hopefully finish in an hour. So I do need 2 helpers right away to get things going. So if you would like to help, there's one. You have your own apron. Okay, we need one more. Who's coming? Come on. Anyone? Sir? Okay, there's the hand washing sink. If you would please wash your hands. Sir, do you want an apron? Wash your teeth, sir. Okay, yeah. Grab an apron and hand wash. So I'm going to just start. I'm going to do both ovens because we're going to do 2 of these so that everyone gets a taste of the Stromboli. So I'm going to turn both ovens at 400 so that they can preheat. Okay, and the other thing that I will note is that in your recipe, it says 3 cups of nonno-inis, that's my grandma, homemade marinara. We're not making marinara tonight because it takes hours and hours and hours. So I brought mine that I made that's been cooking for hours and hours and hours, and you will get to taste it. So, side note on that. So, gentlemen, we're going to start with the vegetables. So, I'm going to give each of you a cutting board, and you can choose your knife. One gets to do onions, and one gets to do green peppers.
Push that right.
You want the green peppers? Or you want the onions? Okay. Okay, so hang on, wait. Okay, actually, one minute around. Although, what's super cool about the library, we've got all these monitors all over. These they installed, I think, maybe end of July, so that you can see even if you're not up here, if you're in the back row. So super cool, but I'll just come around it. Okay, pardon me, sir. And your name is Jim.
I am Jim.
Sir, what's your name?
Paul.
Paul. Nice to meet you. Thanks for
Nice to
coming.
meet you.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a little trick of the green pepper, because I hate the green pepper seeds. So, some people, they like cut it in half, or they cut it in half this way, and then you're wrestling with all the seeds. So I'm going to do a few different sides. Then I'm going to do the bottom. Then I'm going to do the other sides. 0 seeds. And they're all right here. So that's what, Jim, you're going to try to do. Then we're going to slice these really thin into long strips. So what we're going to, and then for you, sir, you're going to do the same thing. And we're going to just cut, nothing magic about this one, but we'll cut this off. And then you can throw your trash back in here. What I usually do, cut it in half, and then you'll cut it, so you're in half moons. You know what I mean? And you're aiming for thin little strips, which should be your half moon. So let me get you some more. Actually, let me get you another tray to put your good stuff on. Okay, off you go. And then you can put all your stuff in there together. It doesn't have to be separate, so you can choose your knife. So the stromboli that my grandma makes, it almost ends up looking like a piece of biscotti when not baked like that, but when I serve it to you. So she has meat in the sauce. We have a lot of meat in the sauce. We've got chicken, beef, Italian sausage. It's a wonderful sauce. So when it's baking, one of the things that I will have you guys come do is just come up before we serve you the stromboli and just taste the sauce, so that you can just taste the sauce, because it's so amazing. It's just amazing. But her stromboli has so much meat in the sauce that we just do the onions and the green peppers, and we'll saute those. Then we're going to put the sauce on the onions and peppers and simmer that so that they kind of reduce down and soften up. That's what goes in the stromboli. And then we kind of roll it almost like a pinwheel. So it's not closed like a calzone. It's much different. At least it looks much different. And then, there's no pepperoni or like pizza topping. So I don't think it tastes like a pizza. We'll see what you guys think. So that's what we got going. So I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in this big pan. And I already have, hopefully, can you guys smell the sauce when you walk in? Okay, yeah. So that's been on a little bit. So I just put a couple tablespoons in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good question. Okay. Olive oil. So it's not a brand. It's some things on the label. So I'll point you. This one I bought at like my favorite store. It's like Christmas. Graziano's. You guys have heard of this. Graziano's in Des Moines is the Italian store that is everything Italian, and it's tiny, tiny. Everything's imported. Everything's authentic. But what you want to look for is that it says first cold pressed. What that means is that it's not heated. The olives, within 72 hours, they're pressed into olive oil. The other thing is you want to look, like this one actually has olives from Italy, Greece, and Spain. That's fine. Some of the other brands, like it'll say packed in Italy versus product of Italy. If it says product of Italy, that's the origin of the olives. But that first cold pressed is key. The other key is in the ingredient list, extra virgin olive oil, not robust, not olive oil, not whatever other adjectives are on there, because there's additives. It's heated, So it's taking away some of the nutritional value, some of the taste. It kind of turns it into tasting, I think, kind of like a crayon versus, like, it should taste like an olive when you taste the olive oil. It's also, if it doesn't say extra virgin olive oil, it has the potential, it's not as regulated. It has the potential to have other vegetable oils in it. So it's not pure olive oil if it doesn't say 100%. So those are really your two key things. If you forget all of that, I'll give you another tip. If it's in a plastic bottle, probably don't buy it. The real stuff is in a tin or in a glass. The plastic bottles, and I'm sure there's exceptions somewhere out there, but in general, that's your guideline if you forget the labeling stuff. Good question. How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
I love Graziano's. I grew up in West Des Moines.
Oh,
Always went around.
isn't it great?
Oh, yeah.
So the other funny thing that I get from Graziano's that you think this is obnoxious, they have a 5-pound bucket of fresh grated Pecorino Romano. And I get multiple of those each year because I go through it sometimes.
How long do they last?
Well, I put it in the freezer.
Oh.
So, I mean, months. But I use cheese, well, there's cheese in the sauce. I put cheese in my soup, pesto. I mean, I use Pecorino to make my kids mac and cheese. So, I go through a lot of olive oil and cheese. Okay, I'm going to get this burner on low. How are you guys doing? Jim?
Yes.
You're only through one for her. Oh, you're on for 3. You just started. Can I help you?
How fast do you
I'm
have
gonna help
to
you.
go? Thought maybe we were stalling you so you could continue to talk.
Oh, I am gonna keep talking,
That's-
but I'm gonna help you cut too.
Kelly?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've heard quite a while ago, though, maybe it's changed, that it wasn't worth, like, cooking with extra virgin olive oil, that was more of a finishing type oil. Do you have a different opinion?
So it's based on the heat.
Okay.
So if you are going to fry something, you don't want to use that because the hot
Yeah.
heat is what kills the oil, makes it taste yucky, and kills a lot of the nutrients. But if you're simmering on low, it's
Okay.
fine.
Or sauteing?
If sauteing
veggies?
something on low medium, totally fine.
Okay.
Not for like a long time, but as
Yeah.
a starter, yeah, that's
Okay.
totally fine. It's just the high heat stuff.
Okay.
But definitely, it tastes the best, in a salad or in as a drizzle or whatever when it's raw.
Because it's more expensive, so.
It is.
Not
But-
the way.
Yeah, but if you think of, you want your best ingredients in what you're gonna make, you should
Right.
taste the difference in
Okay.
putting in the olive oil or putting in, think of like a spice. If you use a fresh basil versus a dried basil, it's still basil.
Mhm.
They're both fine, but they taste different.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
Do you
Yeah.
use that in your baking too?
I'm sorry?
Do you use that oil in your baking too? If you're making
No, because then it'll taste olive oily. No, I do follow. It's really hard for me to follow directions sometimes. Because when you're cooking, you're like, a little bit. Like, it took me probably 10 renditions to write down my grandma's sauce recipe because I'm like, Mom, how much of this? And she's like, this much. I'm like, that's not a measurement. No, but with baking, it's so exact and it's more of a science, right? That I follow whatever it is, and I generally don't use olive oil in baking. Okay, so the next two helpers, when these gentlemen are done with the veggies, actually one of you, if you want to stay up here, we need a stirrer. So if one of you guys can arm wrestle over who's going to stir. But the next two people, if you are thinking you want to come up, we're going to make the dough. So we'll mix that up and knead it. But we won't need to get these in the saute pan. So the recipe that you have is, is a double of the dough, because we're gonna do, so I'm gonna do that exact recipe for the dough, but then I notice I doubled the veggies. With this dough recipe, what I usually do is like I'll make one and stick one in the freezer. So just FYI, that the recipe that you have on your card is for a double Stromboli. And we'll make both today, so you guys can all eat.
Kelly, do you
Yeah.
have the sauce recipe available? Or is that a secret recipe?
So the sauce is not, so if you turn to your next page, I have a number of tips, you can look at those. One of them is, my no-no sauce recipe is an ancient Chinese secret, but if you're interested in, and once you taste it, you might be interested. And so one of the other services that I offer is a private group class. So this is, kind of a demo, interactive demo, but my private group classes, I do them virtually, like, if your sister lives in California and your brother's in Florida, we can Zoom them all in and we have this private dinner party over Zoom. Or if you have, friends that are here in town, I can come to your house and do a private dinner party at your house, and you create your own menu. So if you would like to choose something with the marinara, and then we make it, and you get the recipe, and we make everything at your house, and then you have a dinner party at the end. So I think maybe a page or two back, there's a description of that. It has my picture on the top of that page that talks about the private group class. So yes, that's an option, and then you can get it. All right. Okay, I'm going to get these in our pan. For a few minutes, and then we will get the sauce in there. And then, oh, great. Yep, so there's the hand washing sink behind you, and there's plenty of aprons. Okay, so the dough, we're going to do two different things. We're going to put it in here to get the wet and the dry. We're just going to use this attachment to mix. Then we're going to switch to the cloth to do the kneading. So we'll do that in different ways. So if you want to grab flour, we'll start with that. So we're going to do the flour and the yeast. So I am using, if you are a baker, you'll know that there's two kinds of yeast that you can get in the grocery store. There's the quick rise or the active. I'm using the quick rise because we're making dough and we're going to knead it for a couple minutes and we're going to do our thing and get it in the oven. So if you use the active yeast, it has to proof and do its thing and sit in, for however long, depending on the recipe. So this, we're going to put it in with some warm water once it gets going, but it's not going to need to sit and rise yet. So I'll give you this, and then you're measuring them. And then over here, we're going to do the wet stuff. So, you want to come over there and we'll start the wet stuff. So we've got the egg, one egg is going in here, because the other egg is at the end, I'll show you that later. But so she's doing the flour and the yeast, so we're gonna do, I'll give you some more oil, and we are gonna use this. So soon. No, okay, that exactly, yep. Yeah, 3.5 and then 2 tablespoons of cheese. So I am gonna use the olive oil, I'm kind of contradicting myself. We're baking, but we're baking an Italian bread, so I am gonna use the olive oil because I do want this flavor in there. I actually put vegetable oil on there, so my bad on This is salt. This is salt, so we need to, our grinder kind of got stuck, so we need to grind our salt. And then we'll measure our salt. And so you can do towards you. Okay, perfect. So let's get, well, we don't have to lock it. Okay, so I'll do this.
Well, there's, I'm trying to
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
When you're waiting for it.
Okay, perfect. And then what did you do? Just a tablespoon, just 2 tablespoons of water, additional water. 1 tablespoon of water. That looks like okay. Okay, and then I'm gonna grind a little bit more of this. So let's do this spoon, and then you can just stir it together a little bit. But that's it for now for that, while we're getting this going. Yep, so the salt, we need 1.5 teaspoons. Here's half. Okay, cool. Butter go in here. Actually, we're gonna use the, we'll use the olive oil. Oh, sorry. We do have more. The jug is almost gone. Did you get the sugar already? No. I did the salt. Oh, nice. Okay, so I'm gonna add the sauce. So we did the veggies for 5 minutes on kind of low, medium, just with some olive oil. They're starting to, here, let me grab this. Because there's no camera over the stove. Yeah. So they're starting to soften. Now I'm gonna add the sauce, and then we're gonna cook this a little bit more. So I said 3 cups. I'm gonna put about 3 cups in there, but there's really no magic in how much sauce goes in that. So if you like it saucy, then you can do the full 3 cups. If you don't want it to be that messy, because it is gonna, kind of ooze and be saucy, but I like it saucy. So you can do less if you want. But I also want to save some sauce so you guys can taste. Okay, and then I'm going to stir this up and just take a look at it. I might add, because we doubled the green peppers and onions. I'm not going to do 6 cups, but I'm probably going to add a little more here. Yeah, so just give that a stir, and I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. And if it starts getting too loud, turn it down a little bit. So we got everything in here? Yeah. Sweet. Okay, so let's crank this thing up. Yeah, actually, if you want to do that, you can do that. So we're going to do 1 egg and a tablespoon of water just in that bowl. It's for to brush at the end. Okay, so if you while you're waiting, and then we just kind of whip this up. Yeah, we're going to do with the water. Yeah. So this isn't going to like meringue or anything. We're just kind of getting it just a tiny bit frothy. And then we'll dump our dough in there. And I love using the KitchenAid because it's really loud and you guys can't hear me, so sorry. But, what are you looking for? Oh, that works? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to add this in and keep this on just to get it incorporated. Then we'll switch to the cloth. Well, we're not going to turn it on just yet. You can just dump it. Yeah, you can dump the whole thing in. Oh, yeah, because she mixed the yeast in there already. And then when your kids are baking, they're going to want to turn this on high, right? We do not want to do that. We're going to turn it on low. You guys. And most of these have like the guards so that you can, if you wanted to do that, so that it doesn't spray all over the place. So we're just doing this enough, you guys see inside there? Yeah. To get it, to pull away from the sides and come into a dough ball. And that's about it. Now, we're going to take this off. And we're going to try to get all of that off. Here, can I do that? No. And then we're going to switch to the cloth. Jim, how's that looking?
Pretty good.
It is getting noisy?
Getting noisy.
I don't want to turn it down too much though. Yeah, that's fine. Because we want these to cook down. Yeah. Yeah, you know what, let's put those in that first sink to the right. Take that away. Okay, so we'll get this kneading. We're going to knead it a little bit for about a couple minutes, and then we'll do it a little bit on the surface. So I'm going to put these away, wipe this off, and then we'll get some flour down and roll it. I'm sorry? Three? Four? Okay, so if you want to just do a really light dusting, just so we don't stick. And then we'll do one over here too. Yep, that's funny. Yep. So we're just going to do a little bit, because we don't want to add too much flour to dry it out or make it like pasty on the outside, but enough that it's going to not stick. And then we'll get filling. Okay, so we'll prepare our pans. I love to use parchment parchment paper. You can use tin foil if you want, but this is way better for non-sticking, in my opinion, and it doesn't have the aluminum. Can you even put wax paper in the oven? Probably not, yeah, so don't use the wax paper. So I'm going to use 2 pieces on each thing. I'm going to stop. So you're going to make a tea. Yep, and I'll show you why. Oh, that's good. Okay. So, okay. Let's get the. Hold on.
Do you do it by hand if you wanted to?
Oh, sure.
Good.
Oh, sure, yeah. Okay, so she asked, how did I tell that it was done? So can you guys can all see the dough. If you put your finger and it kind of bounces back like that, it's good. Now, if I were making pasta, see how it's a little bit on my finger? That would not be done. If I was making pizza dough, not done. You want it, well, see, that finger didn't. It's done. That's kind of the trick. Like, it bounces back and it's a little bit sticky, but not like goopy sticky. Yeah, so we'll do two of those. And then you guys are gonna need, so I'm gonna cut this in half. Yeah, see, it is a little sticky at the bottom, but that's okay. We've got flour on that. We're gonna do this. Yep. Cut it in half. And then just, sorry.
No, I was.
Turn it to get some flour on it. Turn and get some flour on it, yep, and then just knead it a little bit. And then we'll roll it out. I'm gonna give you a little bit more because your hair a little bit less. I'm gonna go wash my hands.
Remember those sauce?
They're soft. They're getting there. Get it.
Okay, you know what, let's turn that off. So that it, and then could you, my hands are gross, could you move the pan over
Right.
there?
Nailed down.
And hopefully your hands look way better than mine. How are your hands? See, good. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so that's about good. That's really all you need to do. So we'll grab each and I didn't have one with handles. Do you want one with handles or not? Okay. And what we're gonna do is roll this out like the thickness of a pizza, so pretty thin, but kind of in a rectangle instead of a circle, as best you can. So just push hard. Yep. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I think you're done. Okay, so let me bring this over here so you guys can see how beautiful. How beautiful this is. Wider than that, yep.
But that long or longer too?
Yes and yes. Okay.
No, that's fine.
Here, let me move these for now. And then when we're ready, we'll bring that. So you can lengthen. Because what we're going to do is close this like a pocket. So we do want it pretty big. You guys see this? It's hard to see. Here, I'll just show you. You guys kind of see?
Maybe some of the aroma this way.
I know, so we'll let this sit and cool just for, so how minutes? About how thin you want to go, or thinner, or? That's looking pretty good. I like to do it relatively thin because since we're going to close it up, we want to make sure it all cooks. What you don't want to do is roll it like complete pinwheel so that there's multiple layers, because then your inside bread totally will not cook. So beware of that. You want to just kind of use one fold, maybe a little bit of overlap, but not multiple turns, because then it usually it'll be raw. Okay, so let's get your pans again. So very carefully, put it on there. We're going to lift up. Yep.
Can I use my thing and
Sure.
put it on there? Then we're going which way?
Either way, 'cause we're going to turn it.
Okay.
Yep. Cool. And then actually, let me move this. I'm gonna get this out of here.
Like a roller that you can shove it.
Put it on. Sure.
That one.
Did you flip it at all when you were rolling?
Oh, when I was rolling?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
You're
Usually I
supposed to
do
flip it while rolling. She did it right. I'm showing you wrong.
just so it doesn't stick. So you're getting like a little dusting of the flour as
It's
you're.
so obvious now.
You're being very methodical. I love it. So let's kind of do the pizza thing. Split out. Yeah, that's the middle. Okay. Okay. Yay! Okay, so let's get your flour off of there. So it doesn't get all over you. And then we'll fill it.
Yeah.
All right. So this is going to be messy, so we don't need like a margin or anything, you know, like if you do a pizza. I always say leave a margin on the edge so that it doesn't ooze over and spill into your oven. We don't care about that. We're only because we want all the goods like everywhere, right? So let me get you another spoon. Oops, hot and slotted. There's no way to screw this up. So just off you go. We don't have to use all of it, but
So like a pizza.
like a pizza, but it's going everywhere. And the other thing that some, maybe it depends on the region, where some strombolis use, you know, layers of meat or cheese. There's no cheese in this. My grandma just didn't use cheese. It's the onions and the green peppers, and then there's so much going on in the sauce that you will not miss it, I promise. I think you're good. Yeah. I think you're both good. So just spread it all out. Yep. And then we'll have a little extra. That's fine. Cool. All right. So then, awesome. So spoon back in there. And then what we're going to do is kind of do a trifold. So we're going to do one, and you can use the parchment to kind of help flip it. And flip. And that's it. Ta-da!
I see.
Yep. And let's pull it a little bit more closed. Okay. Yeah. And then that's it. So what we're going to do is cook it, then we're going to flip it and turn it. So we're kind of using this also as our tool for later. So we're going to just leave it like as is for now. Why don't we get your little egg wash, and let me get a little, there, yes, a little brush, and I'll put this in the middle. And you guys can, yes, just like a pie crust, and just brush over the dough. And then we'll get this in the oven. And all this is doing is helping it to kind of like brown up and look pretty. There's really, you don't have to do the egg wash. Cool. Okay, so why don't you bring those over here? Both of these are totally ready to go. All right. Top one, sure. And ovens instead of putting both in one oven. I just think it cooks better. I know the convection is supposed to like do its thing, but it always ends up taking longer. So if you're making two, if you have two ovens, it'll just be a little better. Okay, so since the apocalypse is coming tomorrow, I also brought some red wine, one of my favorite Cabernets, for you to taste. Since we're having a red sauce, I thought we should all have some wine before the world ends when we're having our red sauce. So let me open up while we're waiting to cook. We're going to taste some wine, we're going to taste some sauce, and we're going to chat. Let's see if I can find the wine. Okay, so don't get too excited, but since it's been like freezing out and snowing and no school, like I didn't get to the store, so we're not getting this much wine. But this is going to be your glass. And if you don't want any, that's 100% fine. This is a no pressure zone. I just thought this would be fun. So, one of my favorite vineyards in Italy is called Tamburini. It's in the Tuscany region, which is where my family's from. It's about like an hour west of Florence, but they don't distribute anywhere in the U.S. So I am not able to get that unless I like go there and buy it and have them ship it home to me. So I'm out. I don't have any more. So, but you know what? Hy-Vee these days has a wonderful wine selection. So this is Franciscan, so it's domestic. If did I put a wine? I don't think I put a wine recommendation in your packet. Did I?
Yeah, you did.
I did? Okay. Yeah, so I love Carmenères, I love Cabs, I love, obviously, Chianti Reserves. But it's kind of a preference. You know, if you don't like reds and you want to drink a white with your red sauce, who cares? It's what you want for your dinner, right? It's what you think tastes good.
So do you have a recommendation for your marinara if we don't have your recipe? No, I'm sure there's nothing even close.
I think my official answer is that Raos, R-A-O-S. But when you taste this, it really tastes nothing like it. It doesn't taste like the Raos. It doesn't, like I've tried, and if she's watching, I'm sure she's not watching, but if she gets offended, like Giada has jarred sauce. It doesn't taste the same. It just doesn't.
So little plug for your cookbook. I have your cookbook,
yeah.
and there's a marinara sauce in there with that.
That's it. That's the sauce.
That is the sauce. So
That's
if
the
you buy
sauce.
your cookbook,
If you buy my, yep. Thank you for that. So if you go to my website,
I'm not saying.
yeah, no, she's not. Totally not planted question at all. Swear. There's the QR code, big, huge QR code. That will get you to my link tree. My website is also on there, so if you don't want to type in the address, you can do that. But my website is Gia's Italian Kitchen, Gias, italiankitchen.biz, B-I-Z. There is a cookbook. So I wrote my first cookbook. If you go into the shop, it's in the cookbook category, and it's 21 easy, delicious, authentic recipes. They're not, the ones in this first cookbook, they're not all Italian, because the cookbook, I made it last summer, I guess this past summer, 2023, when my son went off to college. He got his first apartment, and he was like, Mom, you need to show me how to cook some stuff, you know, and I was like, light bulb. So there's definitely some core Italian recipes in there, including the sauce, but some of them are like, make your own burrito bowl, because he's like, how do we make a burrito bowl? And I'm like, well, I'll put it in my cookbook. So it's geared towards what's easy? How can I do something easy now that I'm not at home, or maybe cooking is a little intimidating? And just wanted to make some fun recipes. So yes, so that's fun. Okay. Okay. Would you like that? Sure.
We're just gonna do a little taste. There are a lot of
Yeah. Can you go to the third one? So save a sip for when we get to the sauce. Actually, I'm gonna get. Sorry, do you want some? Do you? Yes.
You can double up.
I know you want your own very Plus you gotta drive home, so. Yeah. So another let me get another pecorino. So they're the two classic Italian cheeses, Parmesan and pecorino. Parmesan or Reggiano is you know is that like a hard cheese? They're both hard cheeses, yeah. But the pecorino romano is the hard cheese.
You bet.
The difference is that, I'm sorry. Yes, you want mine? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I know. She's like,
Oh, Jenny. So pecorino is what my grandma always used, so that's just what I love to use. But pecorino is from Parmesan from a cow. That's the main difference. It's regional because more sheep are more in the mountains in northern Italy, so you'll find more Parmesan as you get further south. And since we're from more up in the Tuscany region, which is technically like the middle, but it's technically northern versus
oh, no. I was thinking I saw,
so this is just from my research. But it's like, it's only 15, I think, $15 or $16, so it's just a really nice, it's hard to find a nice middle of the road, I think, because a lot of them, just are asking you to don't taste great sometimes. Awesome. Cool. Tanya, did you get a little? No, there's enough. Yeah, here. I don't know. Oh, there's our timer. Here, hang on a second. Okay, let's take these out. Remind me to tell you more about the pecorino in a second. Okay. So what I'm going to do and these are looking a little light, which is kind of, you know, your oven versus your neighbor's oven. My oven cooks, I think, higher, faster, whatever. So 400, mine come out a little browner. I'm going to turn this up to 425, just so we don't have this take any longer than we need to. So, my little magic with the parchment, I'm gonna just try to flip this without making a total mess. And there we go. And then it didn't fall apart.
So if you use all-purpose flour, do you do any additions or substitutions to flour?
You know, you wouldn't need to, actually. The bread flour, it's like it's not self-rising flour. It doesn't have like the yeast in it. Like a self-rising flour has a lot of other stuff in it for that reason. Bread flour is just a different consistency, but you don't need to add anything. You shouldn't need to add anything to it. Okay, let's see. Woo! Yay! All right, back in the oven. And then I'll do, what, did I say another 10? Is that what that was? And the other thing that I put in there is if you don't have my sauce, or you want extra meat, you could always saute, you know, some ground beef or Italian sausage separate from the sauce. You know, one of the sauces that I love to make, especially at the end of the summer, with all of your leftover tomatoes, and you know, you're like swimming in cherry grape tomatoes. I put them on one of those big cookie sheets, olive oil, salt, pepper, fresh garlic, and roast them in the oven. Let them cool, and then, not in this, but in, you could do the blender or a Cuisinart, the food processor, and it makes an instant veggie sauce. It's also, so then you could either like put the tomatoes in a Ziploc, just throw them in the freezer, or you could roast them and do this and then bag it or whatever, you know, however you do your freezer storage. And it's the base of your sauce. It can be the base of your marinara. I actually then take that and I turn it into homemade tomato soup. So, but the reason I bring that up, if you do that, then maybe you could saute some sausage, or, you know, if you wanted to add meat and you have this made in the freezer already, you could do that. I just had so much meat in the sauce, so I didn't add meat there. All right. So, back to the pecorino. If you think of goat cheese, that's from a goat, you know, not a cow. Those cheeses tend to be easier on your digestion. They're obviously still dairy, but they're really nice cheeses. The pecorino, it's a little bit saltier than a Parmesan, but in terms of, how am I doing this? I don't need this here. Am I getting the right cheese? Am I getting good cheese? Think about the cheese case, not the cheese case with like the shredded cheddar, that cheese case. Cheese case over here with all the nice stuff over by the deli. There's a lot of different kinds of Parmesans. Lots and lots. A lot of them are really crappy. They're not yummy. So it's hard to find a good one, I think. If you find a pecorino, and it's the right one, it's always going to be the real deal. Pecorino Romano. If it just says Romano, it's fake, because Romanos are region, remember? It's not a cheese. If you, like, there's a label, I forget the name of the company, it looks like, oh, I'm Italian. Flip it over, it's from a cow. Like, it's not even Pecorino Romano cheese. So they're like, it's total marketing. Are you gonna, like, get sick? Of course not. Is it gonna taste good? Probably fine. Is it the real cheese? No. No, if you want the real cheese, Pecorino Romano or Parmigiano Reggiano. Okay, who wants to taste sauce? Okay.
Yes.
We're gonna do this. You're gonna have to come up because it's gonna be too messy. So, come on up. Start a line and I'll make you a little taste. So I'm going to just give give you a napkin so that we can plate for the actual serving. So this is really just going to be a tiny little taste. But what I am going to do is put a little scoop of this on your plate underneath the stromboli also. So you'll get a little bit more, and then we'll try to do that so that you can actually get a taste of it. Oh, it's a build-up. I hope the build-up is worth it. Hold on to your napkins, too. Is it worth it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I make my sauce in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, so this sauce, probably really 3 hours. Yeah. I mean, that's a typical Italian sauce. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So my batch of sauce, I'll get, I haven't measured it, to be honest, but like dinner for 4, and then at least 2 more containers of dinner for 4 in the freezer of sauce. So you've got 2 containers. Do you want to taste it? It might be a little hot. I took it off the heat. I'm gonna make this coffee. Yeah. Good to see you. Italian sausage, a little bit of ground beef, and then chicken. Where do you buy it? Where do I buy what? Your cheese, your pecorino, or your graziano. Yeah, because they fresh grate it, so there's no anti-caking crap on it like most other cheese. Yeah. And it's imported pecorino, so it's like it's the best stuff. You can get blocks of pecorino at Hy-Vee that are real stuff, and then I would recommend getting it in a block, and then with your Cuisinart you can grate it or shred it if you want, because then there's nothing added to it. Another thing. Oh, you can purchase it with additional people. 6 is just the base of how it's priced, and then I mean 10 is kind of your max, because then it just gets kind of chaotic, and because it's, you know, if you think of a dinner party, and not everyone always participates. You know, there's a couple people that want to sit over there and drink and make fun of us, and that's totally fine. Everyone does not have to cook, but typically, like, everyone would be around the island the whole night, kind of multitasking. Usually, we would make 2 to 3 dishes, and then cook dinner together at the end. I've done them here. If you don't have a kitchen, or I can come to you, or to, you know, wherever. Yeah. Yep. What'd you think? Good? Can I recommend a jar that tastes like this? No. No. not even close.
Yeah.
Well, so this first cookbook, another plug, the first cookbook is just digital, so it's a PDF download. I'm working on a full cookbook. I have about 150 pages written already that I want to get printed, but like I need a publisher and all that stuff. So if you know of someone that's like, help me out, send them my way. But that's a little longer of a process. But
How much does that recipe make? Like how much marinara? Like that's a one batch or is that a double batch for your sauce?
no, so the sauce, the recipe makes like dinner for 4. If you're, think of like maybe 4 or 5 cups over a pound of pasta. Again, I like it saucy. But then another 2 dinners of that, of more sauce that go in the freezer. So the recipe that I have in there, it's a 5-quart stock pot is what I use to make the sauce. And then I freeze it. Yep.
Ziploc bags or containers?
I freeze them in the freezer safe bell jars. You know those glass ones for canning. You don't need to can it. You don't need to seal it. You just screw the top on and put it in the freezer. I don't do any of the canning stuff. And like months. It doesn't usually last that long, but I mean, easily a couple months in the freezer and it's totally fine. Okay, this is almost. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, done. Okay. So I'm going to take these out and we're going to let them cool for just a couple minutes and then you guys can eat it. Look at that. Beautiful. Perfect. Yay. Those look great. So the other couple things that are on my website are employer team building. So if your company has, as part of their culture program, they do team building events. I also do team building cooking experiences. I can do those virtually. I can do those here. I've done so they work. This, as you can see, fits 35 people. We kind of move the tables around. We can make them cocktail style. So that's really fun. If you're looking for something unique and fresh for your company for team building. And the other thing is personal coaching. So if you want some coaching for you and your family, or you and your girlfriend or whatever, we can do a series of private coaching classes in person or virtual to really meet you wherever you are. If you are advanced and you want to make the sauce or make more Stromboli or whatever, or if you want to start basic with, how do I cook nutritionally? How do we look at food labels? How do I grocery shop? So I kind of have different spectrums of people, and it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. So what I'm going to do next is just put a little bit of sauce on these before we cut into them. And then we'll get you guys eating a little more. So, and one more little thing, and this is kind of a sidebar, but if you are on social media, I am on Facebook. I even did TikTok. Like, I don't want to do TikTok, but everyone says, oh, you should do TikTok. So, got a TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I've got over 100 videos of me. I have an interview series where I interview girlfriends in business. I have a bunch of those up on there, as well as a bunch of cooking episodes. So please check those out. So really what you can help me do to grow organically at a minimum is just go to those social media sites and follow and like and comment and subscribe, because that'll just help me grow. So if you are on any or all of those platforms, that would be awesome.
Before Christmas, I watched charcuterie.
Oh, with Allie, yeah.
Yeah, and then I made a whole.
Oh, good. Yeah, Allie and I did a charcuterie. That was quite a while ago, but yes, lots of different things on there. So, what is coming up next? And this is just if you are stuck in your house this Sunday night, because I'm sure you will be. I'm doing I don't even want to call it a class. I'm doing kind of an interview, and we're going to cook. So next weekend, you guys all been down to the Paramount Theater downtown? Okay. So it's the opera. Cedar Rapids Opera Theater is next weekend. They're doing Tosca, the opera Tosca. That's my grandma's name. And I was like, I have to think of something to do. So I called them up. The star soprano is 100% Italian. She's here from New York. She's going to be at Paramount Theater in Tosca. She's coming to my house on Friday night. And we're going to cook, and we're going to talk about everything Italian. And you can watch for free in my Facebook page. So just go to my Giasitaliankitchen Facebook page, and the event is in there, so you can just click you're going and show up. I'm not making packets because I actually don't know what we're making yet. Because it's really more about, promoting the opera and just really having a fun night of conversation. So if you'd like, join. Love to have lots of viewers. It'll be super, super fun. I don't even know where she's from. Like, if she's from Sicily, I have no idea. Okay, let's start cutting these up. And then you guys can just come back up and grab a piece. So I am going to use a serrated knife, since we are kind of cutting bread, and it'll help so that this doesn't break apart. So I'm going to cut it into, so when I said at the beginning, like kind of like a biscotti, that's how my grandma said it. She cut it in thin strips, and that's how she served it. Okay, why don't you guys start coming up? Yeah. Jenny, how many people are actually here? Did you count by chance? I didn't count. $20. Okay, I'm gonna cut these. Oh, sorry. Sure. Oh, here. I'm gonna cut this one. Here, you want to take here the little one, and then that can be your. Where's the little one? That can be your like push off. Okay. Yeah. And then a fork. There you go. So grab a fork, and you can grab a plate. Somewhere else. Yeah, you know what? Let me cut this in half, and then I'll put it better on the plate too. Sure. Oh, yes, yeah. So I had a that I would use.
Yeah.
I can let me switch with you and I will.
That's what they freeze, you put a bag,
Yeah.
and then glass, and
Sound that.
or, like I just made, a couple of sweet potatoes in the oven.
So it's still a little bit hot, so be careful. I didn't grab my fork. How are the first bites? I think since we're doing half, yeah, they'll leave enough for a second. And after these cool, this can sit out for, I mean, technically a couple hours, right? Because it's got meat in it and it's all safe. A lot of times my grandma would serve this at room temperature, not hot. So she would let it cool for like an hour, and then we could eat it with our hands. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so there's definitely more if you would like with a little slice. Come on back up.
I don't know how much time is here. Yeah.
So that is my Nonoini's Stromboli with Italian sausage and veggies.
Oh, sure, I know what you're saying, yeah.
Oh, probably. Well, no, different. Yeah, birdie. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, just toss your plate if you want another one. We'll get those in plate. Yeah. So again, if you guys are on social media, if you could please go on and subscribe and like and comment and do all those fun things. Comment in if I know you're all on your phones. Comment on the event right now if you enjoyed this, if you thought it was delicious, if you have questions. My email is in your packets as well. If you think of questions after tonight, feel free to contact me. And I'm here every month, but I would love to do more. If you enjoyed this tonight, I would love to help you with a private group class, or introduce me to someone at your company that might be involved in that team building for the culture, or if you would like some go deeper private coaching, I would love to help you. So thank you so much for coming, and stay safe. You know what, we'll be posting the menu, yeah, so we're either the first or second Thursday of each month. I know February and March are both the second Thursdays. And we'll be posting the menu after tonight, yeah. Yeah, so check the Marion Library's event page, just where you registered for this today, that's where the future events will be, so thank you so much. Thanks.